Hello, I'm back, part 2 of our Chubby little mini album that we're doing. I think the other one left off where we were scoring the edges of the spine, and in the score lines, or in the scored areas on each end, I have just applied tape, and I have put that on the back, and now I am wrapping it around to the front, trying to line up the edges. And if your spine is a tid shorter than your paper or vice versa, you can just trim that up. Or you can ink it. There we go. That's pretty close. I'm going to just ink that. And now you can see we have our spine area covered by this pretty patterned paper. And if the tape isn't going to hold your spine that well, you could always slip some glue under there. For sake of time, I was using the tape. And a lot of times I use tape and glue both. So there we go. Now we've got it all completed as far as the basic assembly goes, and it would work perfectly well just the way it is now. But we want to add another decorating element by wrapping the spine with some fibers. So we're going to find the center of our book, because we're going to start in the center. And let's make that the center. There we go. Okay, we're going to start in the center of our book, and we're going to take our fiber. And the package said this 5 yards of this fiber. I haven't measured it, and sometimes I wonder about what part of 36 inches in a yard these manufacturers don't quite understand, but I'm sure they rely on us not measuring it every time too. So we're going to start in the center, and we're just going to do a simple wrap. I'm leaving a pretty good sized tail here because I am going to tie this on the inside. I just want the fibers wrapping around the outside, and we're just going to we're going to go to the front or back. It doesn't matter which way you go first, but I am just going to go with a single wrap in each of our little spine areas. Very, very simple. Very easy, but it leaves such a neat look on your spine. See that? Isn't that pretty? I love these colors. And then we're going to do a double wrap in the last one, and then come back again in each of the little spine areas, and then we'll go in the opposite direction. So you're going to have 2 fibers in each spine area. Now I'm letting mine twist up. You can straighten that out if you want. It doesn't matter. Whatever method is easiest for you to get through it all. I find the thumb flip hand wrap is fastest, but now we're going to start in the other direction, and since I'm right-handed, it's easier for me to turn it over and keep wrapping. Okay, and then again we're in the end one, so a double wrap. Then come right back again. Oops, I missed one. Not a problem. You miss one, do a double wrap. Or you really don't have to double wrap. I like the double wrap look because it puts more of the fibers in the spine. And if I didn't miss one, maybe that's where... Oh, I turned it upside down. Never mind. Okay, We'll turn it right side up, and we're back at the beginning again, and we're just going to take our fiber and tie it in a knot, a bow. You can do anything you want here. I have put a pop-up page on here so it covers up this area anyway, so I'm just putting mine in a plain old knot. And I'll do an extra knot. And then just clip off the excess. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? See all those fibers on the spine area? And it doesn't really serve any purpose per se. It does anchor your book further to the spine, but it's more of a decorating element, which I really, really like this. So this was in colors of the blue and the coral and the wine and the neutrals that just perfectly matches this paper. And here is this type of fiber on this one. And this is thinner, so it's more streaky than this fluffier one is. But it's all the look you're going for. You could even do a triple wrap. If you've got, like on this one, this was thinner, I could have triple wrapped that and filled that spine in even more. But isn't that simple? And isn't that easy? And isn't that elegant looking? And I love it, I love it. Okay, now let's look at what we've got here. This is our front, and I'm going to show you how I decorated. So let's start. I'm going to put these side by side. So, okay, on the front area, this is something that I like to do where you've got your mat, and then I have just punched out the corners with my 1/2 inch circle punch, and then underneath these corners I have tucked a little tag just for a grin and giggle, and then I have attached, now that I'm saying this, I have attached a 1/2 circle punch on top just to put a stop on it so the tag doesn't slide all the way under there. On other pages I do this, I use pop dots to set this mat up somewhat, but I didn't want to do that on the cover because I didn't want to take the chance of these tags actually falling out. And what I have done is I have gathered together some of my favorite stamps, and let me show you what I'm using here. I'm using this collection. This is a Stampin' Up! Established Elegance collection. It's got the crayon. I like this little fleur-de-lis. I like the pen. I like the key. I like the mannequin. I like the old typewriter. So I like this collection. This is another Stampin' Up! Collection that I like using. It has love. It has Flying Heart, #1. And this is the Affection collection. And then this one I like, Life is Either a Daring Adventure or Nothing by Helen Keller. I am going to use that sentiment, and that is from the Daring Adventure collection. And the other ones I pulled out, oh, this one I used in this other one too. This is the Postage Due collection, and I love this. I've stamped all the tags with this collage here, and I like it because when you have a big collage stamp like this, you can use it over and over again and it looks different just because you move your paper a little bit underneath the stamp. So any collage stamp that you have, have would work. I like the 2 cents. Here's my 2 cents worth, and I like the Travel Post. So I'm going to use that one. And I like this little bird in the Everything Eleanor collection, so I pulled that one out. And I like this saying, treat yourself like your own best company. I'm going to put that in my book too because I used it in here. So what I thought I'd do is, oh, here's another one too. This is from Hampton Arts. This is called the Flower Postmark little mini collage. And then I have these stamps. I've had these for years. I don't know where I got them. They might be old Stampin' Up! Stamps too. I don't remember. It's been years and years and years. But I like to use just these little bracket looking stamps to put on the top and bottom of journaling cards. Let me show you as we're talking about this. For example, there's the key. I put on this first one. There's my 2 cents worth. And I took the travel post stamp and cut it in half. So we'll do that. The tags that I made to fit in here. Now, I haven't punched holes in these. I'm still debating whether to do that or not and tie more fibers in them. Might not. This is just a friend one. These are the little, I made little journaling tags, so I'm going to show you how to do that too, where you just stamp the edge of a piece of chipboard to make your lines. Here's the little brackets. Using the little brackets, which it's not really that one, but that one would suffice too. Just, this is a little journaling card. See how I used it at the top and the bottom, and it just creates a little design element. So let's go through here real quick, and I'll give you some sizes of what I've done so that you can duplicate or just play with it yourself and do your own thing. I've already cut a lot of my pieces. Here we go. Because I've just cut all this out of very vanilla cardstock from Stampin' Up! You can use an ivory, you can use, again, whatever color you want, use it. I'm going to use this in this because I want it to brighten it up just a tidge. And I also, it'll carry the color well. And the colors that I'm using for my stamps are Vintage Photo. I'm going to stay with Vintage Photo. And then I'm going to go with the Primrose Petals from Stampin' Up! And this one always makes me giggle because they have the name in different languages now that Stampin' Up's all over the world. They have it in English, they have it in Spanish, they have it in French, and they have it in Dutch. And this is Primrose Petals, and in Dutch it's called Morgenrot. So to all my Dutch friends out there, I got a giggle out of this. Thank you very much. And then my Vintage Photo. I'm going to use that to edge. So, for example, let's do this first page here. And this measures 2.5 by 2.5. Then I took my 1/2 inch punch and did the ticket punch corners out of it. And on this one I stamped the crown, and I think I'll go with that again because of who this is going to. I think that should get a kick out of that. But you could always use friend, love, your number one. Excuse me. I guess part 2 is too much on these videos, but let's try and make it through as much as we can. And I'll go through this quickly and just give you some little ideas. You don't have to utilize these ideas. You can use whatever you want. But I thought maybe I might have some ideas that were kind of new to you that you hadn't seen before. If not, then it'll just remind you of something to do. So in the middle of this, I'm going to stamp my crown. And a lot of times, if I want this to be spot on, I'll use my stamp positioner. But most of the time, to be honest with you, I just kind of hoof it. And pray. I'm a big one for prayer while crafting. And then I edged that one in Vintage Photo, but you know what? I think I'm going to edge this one in the same ink, actually, now that I think about it. Get out one of my sponges. I'm not sure that's the same color. So we're going to start another little... And we only need to ink the front because of course the back's going to be glued down. So make it as pristine or as smudgy as you want. I don't know if I'm in camera here. I'm smudging this one up because I think the person that's getting it will like that better. Okay, that was with the primrose petal. Which these new ink pads are juicy, juicy, juicy. I'm always covered with ink anymore when I use them. On these little puppies, oh, I needed to show you too that these, 2 of them are longer and come to the middle, then 2 of them are shorter because they're going to hit up against the longer ones. So, and you can decorate these any way that you want. The key here is to keep this is 1.5 by 1, the longer one is, and this one measures 1 1/8 by 1. And I have cut the dog ears off the corners, and what I've done is positioned it so that those dog ears or those slants come right up into this 1/2 inch punch. If that makes any sense, it just looks better that way, I think. So I'm going to edge all these, and then think about what you want to put if you're going to do this, what you want to put on as your stamped elements. I'm just getting some edge color on them because I may not stamp these yet. Sometimes I have to think about. And again, on the blue one that I made, I mixed the ink between the blues and the vintage photo. This one I am using more of the primrose on the cover anyway. Because we don't really have any tan on the cover except on the spine area. I just think it looks better. I don't know why. I can't sit here and justify why I do things sometimes. I just do it because I like it. Craziness, craziness, yes. And if you're worried about getting ink on your fingers, you can always use tweezers. I don't really care about or like ink on my fingers. And we don't have to be anywhere until later today, so it gives me time to clean my fingers before we have to go. Good old Dawn dishwashing detergent will take all that off. Okay, just a very light hit on there. And then what I do is put a little bit of glue just in the center lower part, and then center this halfway down. And you can stamp all this up before you do it, or you can stamp it later. I'm thinking on this one I might put some information in here pertaining to the gal it's going to, so like her birthday and just some personal information, which I won't talk about here, but I think you get the idea. On this one, I just took a flourish stamp and stamped it, having the twirl end up there in the circle. Might do it again. And just let these pieces dry before you start trying to slide them in and out because we want to get them positioned perfect to begin with. And we don't want them moving on us. I don't know if you can see. Got so much stuff on my table here. But again, this is just something I like doing that you don't see every day. And then, like I said, if this were an inside page, I would probably pop this up on dots. But since it's not an inside page, I'm going to take it down flat so that these tags don't have a chance of falling out. And to glue down the front, what I've done, again, you don't want to mess with these too much, but pick your corners that you're going to put these in. See how these just fit right down in there? And this is how I find, I hope this is in camera, this is how I kind of figure out my gluing spots, is by getting these positioned where they should be. And now you can see the mechanics a little better on the back, I think. Because I don't want the glue to interfere with my tags. These tags should butt up right against each other. So this shows you, small thumbs today, sorry about that, guys. This shows you where you can put your glue without it interfering with your tag. So we could put some glue in here. And just lightly, because you don't want it smushing over into your tag area. See how it's just little triangles? There we go. Now we can remove all these. And we can position, I need to turn this face up. We can position this right where we want it on our cover. And hopefully none of that glue will interfere with our tag areas. And before we start sliding our tags in and out, I'm going to let this dry a little bit. And let's just go to the inside. Set these aside. We'll go to the inside and then we'll come back and we'll redo those or stick those in. Okay, on this page I took the travel post stamp. And I like this stamp because you can slice it and you still get the drift of what it says. So this is the Stampin' Up! Travel Post stamp. And this measures 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 square. So I think I've cut a piece out for that. Lord knows where it is. I had these so organized. That might be it. There it is. Yeah. So I'm going to do that also in the color. And since I already have my piece cut out, I am just going to lay the piece on the stamp and push down on it. And what? Pray that it comes out. Am I in camera? And it does. It comes out good enough. And then, I can't believe how juicy this stamp pad is. I feel like it's oozing up my arm. Just putting color in all that border there. Just in the border. And if I phase out on you, that's just me. When I'm making something, I usually sing a song or phase out or think about something else. So now I'm going to take this stamp and I want a longer pair of scissors. I'm going to cut from corner to corner. Just like that. Then I'm going to take my sponge, go ahead and ink up that diagonal line. And again, you're going to use the stamps that you have. These are just ideas of ways to use those stamps. Now, I'm going to put glue just on the edges of these because I want a mat to be able to slide down in there. So keep your glue thin. Am I still right side up? Yes. Just keep it equidistant from the edge on both corners. And now this may be elementary to some of you, and that's fine if you just want to fast forward. And I guess I could have just told you how to do this. Didn't really need to sit and watch me do it. Now if I was doing this without you, I'd have this up to the end of my nose eyeballing this. There we go. We got our photo brackets on, and that's basically what you've done, is you have made brackets to insert a photo mat. Now the mat that I made, it is, what is that one? 2 1/4. Let's pull it out. 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And I know I've cut one, I just don't know for sure where it ended up down here in this pile. Because I have, again, pre-cut, and I did that so I could make me a list of the sizes that I needed. That one's too big. So that when I'm making several of these, I can go ahead and pre-cut all my decorating pieces. I don't know where it is, but you get the idea there. Okay. Then on here, all the tags that I made to fit in these pockets are pretty much the same size. And they are going to measure, the big ones are just 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 inch squares. And those will just fit right down into your pocket areas. Okay? Now, if you need to trim them up, because look here, this pocket, no, it fits. If your glue has seeped its way, you may have into your pocket area, you may have to trim these down. But that one is 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. This one is 1 1/2 by 2.75. Clip the corners, just stamped friend on it. This one is, the smaller ones are 1 1/8 by 2 1/4. And all I did was stamp some simple journaling lines on this. And you can do this with chipboard, you can do it with the edge of a ruler, you can do it with, let's get one out. Because I get a lot of questions about these. you could take a scrap piece of anything. I bet this would work. Let's try it. Is that the right? It's too wide. What you want to do is set the end that you're going to stamp to the dimensions of the lines that you want. And again, a lot of people keep asking me, what is that primitive journaling line stamp you use? And I'm telling you, it's not a stamp. It's just the edge of a piece of chipboard, a sturdy cardstock. Oh, that one's perfect. And all I do is get the size I want. We'll try it with this. I usually use chipboard, to be honest, but tap the end in ink and then just stamp. See? This is just cardstock. Is it showing up? And this is making very narrow lines, which might even be better in some cases. Your chipboard has more width to it, so it's going to give you a wider line. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's very, very narrow. And that's just using a scrap piece of your cardstock. So there is no stamp for the primitive journaling lines. It is just me stamping edges of chipboard and cardstock. So I hope that helps you. Now I need to set this somewhere where it doesn't, because I might want to use it again. Although I've showed you that technique, so we probably won't go into it again. Okay, let's go through this book. And this is where the tags all fit. There are 3 of them, the sizes I gave you. And you can set up every pocket the same way. It can all be the same size of tags. You could put 3, you can put 2. Okay, on the next page, on the back, okay, on the front, on the front of this, I have cut a piece of cardstock, 2 3/4. I think these are all. Yeah, let's use that. 2 3/4 by 1 1/4. Then on this one, I stamped a key and I actually punched out the thumb hole again. Notice that there? But on the back of these, since there isn't a thumb hole, I have just decorated these up, and see, there's some more of those primitive journaling lines, and then I stamped. I did a stamp over it. So you could do that on the back of all these pockets using that size measurement. This is a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 square that, again, I just did the ticket punch corners, stamped a little bird down there, and I glued this one down here, here, and here, and left this side open so that I could, this is what I call word sticks. I just haven't stamped anything on it yet. And those same size tags, oops, I pulled out the one underneath it. We'll talk about that too, because I think I would change that. Just slide a journaling tag under there too. Then on the back, it's pretty much the same scenario. But what I would do on this next one, I am going to do, instead of putting these back to back like that, because I run across that a lot, and I've done it before, and I don't really like it when there's a chance you can pull both tags out. I don't know. So what I would do, or what I'm going to do when I make this next one, is I'm going to glue here, here, and here, and I'm going to stick the tags into the top of these photo mats. Then down here, I just use my Stampin' Up! Label punch and a stamp that says kindness matters always. And first you stamp when you're trying to get words centered in this little bitty label thing. Stamp first and then position it. And then punch it out. Now I also have a stamp that matches this profile, so I stamped it on the photo mat first, just made a little fancy thing. I think it said thank you on it. I wanted to cover it up, so I stamped and then I stamped and punched. So there's an idea there, And again, think about putting those tabs up there. On this one, this is another play on that tab under photo mat, but I went ahead and took this a little bit further too and put a little booklet on top, a little journaling booklet. So this was a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square, which then I dog-eared off the corners. And then I popped this up on pop dots. This is what I was talking about, on these 4 corners. And I have 4 pretty good size journaling tags layered under here now. So to give you dimensions on those, 2.5 by 1.25. And just layer them under there. And then I took the stamp again and stamped another element, wings, heart with the wings. I think I showed you that one. Put it up on pop dots. Then I made this little journaling booklet out of a 7.5 inch by 2.25 inch piece of cardstock, and then I scored it every 1.25 inches all the way across, folded it up, and you got yourself a little journaling booklet, and then you just